Recently, everyone's been talking about this new AI chatbot called ChatGPT, and it literally acts like your personal assistant. You can have conversations with it can answer questions that are way too complicated to Google search, and it can even do things like write codes, essays, music compositions, and even recipes. So as someone who's come up with thousands of unique recipes on this channel over the years, I'm gonna put this AI to the test. I'm gonna be asking the AI to come up with a full 3-course meal and see, number 1, if it comes out tasty, number 2, if it's actually as inventive as, let's say, a human brain, and number 3, how well it can take specific constraints that I'm gonna throw at it. Will the AI take over my job one day? Let's see. So because so much of my cooking is inspired by my Vietnamese heritage and everybody loves a good Asian fusion recipe, I'm going to challenge the AI to write up a 3-course Vietnamese fusion meal. Let's get to know it a little first. Hi, my name is Zhang. What's your name? Today, I'd like to challenge you and see if you could do my job better than me. What's a creative Vietnamese fusion appetizer idea for 4? It's thinking. It's thinking for a long time. Okay, Vietnamese spring rolls with grilled shrimp and mango. Interesting, interesting. I think it's funny how when anyone thinks of a Vietnamese appetizer, immediately it goes to spring rolls. I actually asked this like 2-3 times just playing around with it, and every time it gave me spring rolls, so we're gonna go with it. So first things first, one thing that it asked for is already cooked vermicelli noodles, which I need to cook up. These noodles cook up really fast. Okay, and it also calls for 8 large shrimp peeled and deveined shrimp that I already have. 7, 8. Okay, so now in a separate bowl, I have to combine some oil, salt and pepper, no measurements here, pretty standard. So this step I felt was pretty unnecessary to have this extra bowl, but we're just following its rules. So now I have to brush this mixture onto the shrimp. All right, so now we just grill the shrimp. So by the time I lay the shrimp on, my noodles should be done, so I'm just gonna work quickly. Now the AI says grill the shrimp for 2 to 3 minutes per side or until they're pink and opaque. Season side down first. The noodles are almost done. I'm gonna brush it with a little bit more seasoning on the other side. Okay, so it's starting to turn pink. It's been about 2 minutes. I'm gonna flip it. Let's get our noodles out. Always blast your vermicelli noodles with some cold water. Don't worry, I'm gonna take the tail off once we start assembling them. Okay, so for the other components, it calls for 1 small mango peeled and thinly sliced, a small carrot julienne, and a cucumber julienne as well. All right, so now we assemble our spring rolls. I'm using these wrappers right here. They're by the 3 Ladies. It's my favorite brand. I have a bowl filled with water. I actually like using a plate, but we basically dip it in semi-warm water for a few seconds until it becomes pliable, and then lay the wrapper flat on a clean surface. So far, those are the correct instructions. One thing that it didn't mention is that there's a rough surface and a smooth surface. The rough surface always goes on top so that it grips your food. Another detail that the AI is missing that humans learn from experience. Place a small handful of vermicelli noodles onto the wrapper, leaving a 2-inch border around the edges. Now what it failed to tell me to do is like the location of the vermicelli, and I feel like that's really important because you should always start at the bottom third. Top the noodles with a few slices of mango, carrots, and cucumbers, cilantro, and mint. Place 1 shrimp on top of the vegetables, just 1 shrimp. ChatGPT is pretty stingy with our protein here. I'm gonna show you guys a little trick that I would do to make it disperse evenly. So what we would do is just cut the shrimp in half, roll the sides of the wrapper over the filling, that's right. I mean, I would have said something about the bottom. Then roll it tightly away from you. And we have our shrimp spring rolls. And now I'm looking at the ingredients for the sauce. And I'm shaking my head. Calling for a 1/4 cup hoisin sauce and a 1/4 cup of peanut butter. I already have identified so many issues here. Typically, this is the hoisin sauce that I would use, but I also have this hoisin sauce that I use quite a bit for marinade, and you can see how thin it is. So the AI didn't specify what kind, but since I already have identified a lot of issues here, I'm gonna use this thin and runny one, and I'll explain to you why. And of course, peanut butter for the peanut dipping sauce. All it says here is in a small bowl, whisk together hoisin sauce and peanut butter. It didn't say add some lime juice, add a little bit of garlic, add some water to thin it out. Otherwise, you're gonna get like a hugely thick mess. And I'm using creamy peanut butter here that's pretty runny, but you see how the peanut butter just like soaked up all of the hoisin sauce liquid, and now it's just not like a dip anymore, it's more like a spread. All right, we'll see what the judge says. Speaking of which, we flew in a highly distinguished Vietnamese food critic to taste all of the food later. So I'm gonna set this aside and continue on with the main course.
So I'm just going to be putting some mystery ingredients for Zung to choose from to prompt the AI. Tried to cover all my bases. I got a spice, condiments, produce, vegetables, carbs, and protein.
Let's see what we have here. I'm gonna try to choose 5 ingredients, and hopefully they're interesting enough to make a good Vietnamese fusion meal. Okay, this feels like it could be a box of pasta. Is this my sake? I know my way around my kitchen. This is a spice. Okay, definitely need spice. Okay, so I have 2 spices. This feels like vegetables. Broccoli? What's this? Okay, we're gonna choose this because hopefully it's a protein. Ah, I need a protein. Cheese. Oh no, what's that? Fennel seeds? Jolly Rancher gummies. No. So what's a Vietnamese fusion recipe using ground beef, sake, fennel seeds, Gouda cheese, and gummies? Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh my god. I'm a little scared. All right, let's do this. Okay, I have a large mixing bowl here. I have to combine the ground beef, egg, breadcrumbs, 1/4 cup of it. Now this is where it gets a little dicey. It wants me to add a whole tablespoon of fennel seeds. I don't know if you've had fennel seeds before, but it's kind of potent. A tablespoon of sake, half a teaspoon of salt, and some pepper. So it's interesting to see what it's doing with the parameters. Well, I see that it added the egg and the panko or breadcrumbs to make meatballs. It could have added like fish sauce as well instead of salt, or like even lemongrass even. Now we roll the mixture into 1-inch diameter meatballs. My meatballs are getting progressively larger and larger. Add the meatballs to the skillet and cook until they're brown on all sides, and cook through about 8 to 10 minutes. A 1/4 cup of the gummy candies cut into small pieces. This part is not bad. I actually love meatballs with some cheese. I mean, if anything, this is a super kid-friendly meal. Cover the skillet and let it cook for 2 to 3 minutes until the cheese is melted and the gummies are soft. And then we serve. But now I'm gonna head on into desserts. And I think I'm gonna throw another twist in there and see if it can generate a multicultural dessert. And since Vietnamese food is heavily influenced by French cuisine, I'm gonna ask it for a Vietnamese French dessert recipe. What's a good Vietnamese dessert recipe? Oh my gosh, this sounds really good. I'm really excited for this. So ChatGPT gave me a banana Foster's crepes, and while I feel like this is mostly French, it actually works because my grandma used to make something like this all the time, and she's Vietnamese. So I'm gonna show you guys our crepes recipe first, and then we'll get into their banana Foster's crepes because they wanted us to use just like pre-made crepes, and no. 2 eggs. I'm gonna sprinkle in some sugar, the vanilla extract, and now we're gonna pour the milk in, a little over 1 cup, and about 3/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour. The butter should be fully melted, and it actually acts as like a greaser for your pan for the crepes later. Okay, so this is the basic crepe batter. Add it in. I'm just cooking it on like medium-low heat. And now onto the AI generated recipe. All right, so in a large skillet, I'm supposed to melt the butter, 4 tablespoons. I've already pre-measured everything, 4 tablespoons of butter. And while that's melting, I have to slice the bananas. I'm supposed to cook it for 1 to 2 minutes until they start to soften. Intuitively, I would have mentioned to stir it up so it could coat in the butter. All right, so now that it's softened, I have to add in brown sugar, rum. I just got a mini bottle. Whoa. Cream, vanilla, and some salt. Now it says to stir until the sugar has dissolved and the mixture is combined. Oh, this looks so yummy. For me, I do wish that the caramel was a little bit darker in this banana Foster's, but we'll see what it says. Then reduce the heat to simmer, and then we cook for an additional 2 to 3 minutes until the sauce has slightly thickened. It doesn't say whether you need to fold it or anything. Usually I've seen crepes like folded like this, maybe with like the filling inside. It doesn't tell me to do anything. Okay, top with a spoonful and a sprinkle of toasted pecans. Like that's it. I would have added the instructions to fold it, maybe even like this, like an envelope. I know this is for savory crepes, so like the triangles would have been the ones. I don't know, but since I'm sticking to what ChatGPT tells me, we're gonna go with it. Serve the crepes warm with a scoop of vanilla ice cream. That's what I'm talking about. And now I'd like to welcome our judge for this Vietnamese feast that I've prepared. The harshest food critic of all. Harshest food critic of all. My mom. Welcome, Mom, to the Honeysuckle Kitchen Stadium.
Hi.
Okay, Mom, so today I made some Vietnamese fusion food that I would like for you to try. Okay, the first course here, we have a 3-course meal, grilled shrimp with mango spring rolls and a peanut sauce. So con muốn má chấm điểm thấy giống như đồ Việt Nam không? And then does it taste like đồ Việt Nam? And what you think?
Okay, let me try.
Okay.
I think the dip a little bit loose, too thick.
Oh, the dip is too thick. But does it taste good?
Yep,
Does it taste authentic to what you would make?
different with Vietnamese roll.
So she's never had anything like this before, but it's Vietnamese fusion, so we add an American twist to it. So what score would you give this?
I think I will give this one about 7.
Not bad, not bad. Okay.
Wow, look pretty.
This is Vietnamese fusion meatballs with sake and fennel seeds.
It looks fancy.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. What is this? The red one.
Try it and then I will tell you.
Sweet and salt.
So this is ground beef meatballs with Gouda cheese and gummy bears.
It's good, but it's funny. What do you think?
It's honestly not bad. Like if it didn't have the gummy bears in there, the meatballs are pretty good. So one of my comments was about the fennel seeds being overpowering and just way too much, but it's very balanced, and you, even though I only added 1 tablespoon of the sake, you definitely taste the sake in there, and it's a very tender and really good meatball. I'm surprisingly impressed by this. But does it taste like Vietnamese?
No, for the meatball, it would be 8.
But with the gummy bears?
with the gummy bear, maybe 6.
Okay. Okay, now mom, this is a dessert. I wanted to do something French Vietnamese. So this is a banana Foster crepe with ice cream.
Look great like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good. Very, very nice.
Does this remind you of anything Vietnamese though?
I think just French.
What would make a dessert more Vietnamese?
Without ice cream.
If this were to be more Vietnamese, there would be some coconut milk in there,
Yeah.
and possibly something more like jia, which is like a rice pudding, or that it would be a little bit thinner. So what score would you give this?
8.
8. Not bad. A good dessert's a good dessert. So the reason why I asked you to try all this was because I did not write the recipes. I did not create this. A robot wrote it for me to try.
Oh,
Does that scare you or does it impress you? What do you think?
no, I'm not scared. Impress me.
It impressed you.
Yeah,
We'll be eating this for dinner later.
that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think your kid will like it.
Yeah, my kids will love this. So the process of testing these AI generated recipes was really fun, and I was quite impressed by what it was able to generate based on the curveballs that I threw at it. But not many of the recipes turned out to be Vietnamese other than the spring rolls. And what I do want to address is the discourse around AI right now and the potential of it taking over human jobs in the future. So much of our cooking comes from our own senses, our intuition in the kitchen, and from our experiences, our cultures and tastes. There's so many different layers that go into a human cook that a robot that's programmed simply cannot do or experience. With that said, I think using the AI to get some ideas to jumpstart your creative meal, maybe this would be a fun way for us to test some new recipes and maybe even come up with an AI generated cookbook.
Hello Zone. Hello Zone. Hello Zone.
Hello, Zon. We
missed you.
We
missed you.
Was that the AI?